Section: Introduction. In this section, we discuss the growth of neural models shared online and the importance of model weights as a crucial data type. We note the vast number of models available, with many stemming from a common ancestor model through fine-tuning. Inspired by Darwin's Tree of Life, we introduce the concept of a model tree to depict the genetic relationships between models. The structure of the model tree is currently unknown, leading us to propose the task of model tree heritage recovery, mother recovery, to map out these relationships in the dynamic world of neural networks. Recovering the model tree is significant for various reasons, such as establishing the lineage of a model to resolve disputes over authorship or data usage. By analyzing outlier values in model weights, we can identify relationships between models. We observe that outlier values and their distances often indicate the genetic connections between models. Additionally, we study how model weights change during training, noting differences between generalization, pre-training, and specialization, fine-tuning, stages. To recover the model tree, we create a pairwise distance matrix based on outlier values and determine the direction of relationships using outlier monotonicity. By applying a minimum-directed spanning tree algorithm, we reconstruct the model tree. We expand this concept to a model graph, enabling us to analyze ecosystems with multiple trees by clustering nodes based on distances. Our method is validated on various datasets and real-world ecosystems. Our contributions include introducing the model tree and model graph structures, uncovering the relationship between model weight outliers and their positions on the model graph, and demonstrating the effectiveness of mother recovery in practical scenarios. Section Summary. In this section, we introduce the concept of the model tree and model graph to represent the lineage and relationships between neural models, akin to Darwin's Tree of Life for organisms. By analyzing outlier values in model weights and their evolution during training, we can map out the model tree and recover hereditary connections between models. Our proposed mother recovery task aims to establish model lineage, resolve legal disputes, and pave the way for large-scale mapping of the model universe, demonstrating its effectiveness in real-world scenarios. Section: Task Definition. In this section, we introduce the task of model tree heritage recovery, mother recovery, to map the structure of the model graph. Our goal is to determine the structure of the model graph based on the weights of the models in a set, V. The model graph consists of model trees, and our task involves clustering the nodes into different model tree components and then recovering the structure of each model tree. Essentially, we aim to identify the directed edges in the model graph using the weights of the models. We explore two important properties of model weights that help in recovering the model graph. We focus on using model weights to predict the distance between two models in the model tree, which assists in determining if two models are connected by an edge. By analyzing the weight distances between models, we observe that models with direct parent-child connections have the lowest weight distance, indicating a strong correlation with the presence of an edge between their nodes. LoRa fine-tuning is a widely used method for efficient parameter fine-tuning. When applying LoRa, only a subset of layers in the model are adjusted by tuning a new low-rank matrix for each layer while keeping the rest of the model frozen. We leverage the differences in rank between LoRa fine-tuned models to estimate the node distance between them. This helps us define the LoRa weight distance, which is highly indicative of the presence of an edge between the nodes of two models fine-tuned using LoRa. To determine the direction of edges between nodes, we introduce a directional weight score based on kurtosis of the model weights. This score helps in identifying the training stage, generalization or specialization, of the models. By studying how the weights evolve during training, we observe distinct patterns in the generalization and specialization stages. The directional weight score provides insight into the relationship between nodes in the model graph, indicating the direction of training between related models. Section Summary. In this section, we introduce the task of model tree heritage recovery, mother recovery, to map the structure of the model graph based on model weights. We cluster nodes into model trees and recover the structure of each model tree by estimating the edge directions and distances using weight properties, such as LoRa fine-tuning and directional weight scores, to determine relationships between models in the model tree. Section: Intuition. In this section, we will discuss the intuition behind recovering the structure of model graphs. When we have a model with Gaussian-based weight initialization, like K-mean initialization, the weights may need to cover a wide range of values during the generalization stage for large datasets. This can result in more outlier values in the weight matrix. On the other hand, during the specialization stage for smaller, task-specific data, the weights may not need such a wide range of values, leading to fewer outlier values. Kurtosis, which measures the tailedness of a distribution, reflects this property. Now, let's talk about recovering the structure of model graphs. We will first manually solve model graphs with 3 nodes and then introduce Mother, our algorithm for recovering real model graphs. Each model graph can have one or more model trees, where connected nodes within a model tree come from additional training steps. We assume no prior knowledge about the model relations. To start with a simplified model graph of size 3, we connect nodes with the smallest weight distance and designate the node with the highest directional weight score as the root. We then go into detail about different types of size 3 model graphs. For the grandparent-parent-child (GPC) model tree, which has a 3-generational relationship, we connect nodes with the lowest weight distances and choose the root based on the directional score. This process assumes specialization training stages for all 3 models. In the parent-child-child (PC2) model tree, with 1 parent and 2 children, we connect nodes based on weight distances and select the root using the directional score, similar to the GPC case. The parent-child stranger (PC's) model graph consists of 2 model trees, where we identify the odd node based on weight distances and then follow similar steps as before for the remaining nodes. Lastly, the stranger S3 model graph includes 3 separate model trees, which we distinguish based on their distances. Moving on to Mother recovery, our method for larger model graphs, we aim to recover the edges of a model tree by connecting nodes trained from each other. We use weight distances and edge directions to determine the structure. By considering all constraints, we create a distance matrix and use a minimum directed spanning tree algorithm to recover the model tree. Section Summary. In this section, we explore the intuition behind weight initialization in models and how the diversity of weight values impacts outlier values in the weight matrix during generalization and specialization stages. We then delve into recovering the structure of model graphs by outlining the process for reconstructing model trees like grandparent-parent-child, parent-child-child, parent-child-stranger, and stranger-stranger-stranger, and introduce Mother, a method for scaling up model graph recovery by utilizing weight distance matrices and directional scores to reconstruct model trees efficiently. Section: Multiple components. In this section, we considered multiple components instead of assuming they all belong to the same tree. To handle this, we introduced a clustering step before applying the algorithm mentioned earlier. This involved running a clustering algorithm on the pairwise distances between the components and then finding the minimum diameter spanning tree, MDST, for each cluster separately. To test the performance of our method, Mother, we created the VIT tree heritage recovery, VTHR, dataset with 3 splits: full fine-tuning, FORT, LoRa fine-tuning with varying ranks, LoRa V, and LoRa fine-tuning with fixed rank, LoRa F. Each split included a model graph with 105 models organized in 3 levels of hierarchy. The models were rooted by different pre-trained VITs from Hugging Face. We evaluated the accuracy of our method using the VTHR dataset and also on model trees from Hugging Face. Our evaluation focused on the correctness of edge placement and direction in the reconstructed trees. Mother performed efficiently, taking only seconds to minutes even on a CPU. For full fine-tuning, we normalized the weights of each layer before applying the algorithm. We used hierarchical clustering assuming a known number of clusters. When recovering individual model trees, Mother achieved perfect accuracy for 3 out of 5 trees. For the entire model graph, the accuracy was 0.89, showing consistent performance across different tree sizes. Next, we tested Mother on the LoRa dataset splits. When models had varying LoRa ranks, we successfully reconstructed all model trees with perfect accuracy. However, when all models had the same rank, the accuracy slightly decreased for one of the model trees. Using the LoRa-based distance metric was crucial for accurately reconstructing LoRa fine-tuned models. We also attempted to reconstruct the structure of in-the-wild models from Hugging Face. Our method showed high accuracy in reconstructing the model trees, demonstrating its effectiveness in real-world scenarios with detailed model hierarchies. Section Summary. In this section, we introduce a method to handle multiple components by adding a clustering step before running the algorithm on the pairwise distances of the components. We evaluate our method on the VIT tree heritage recovery dataset, consisting of different fine-tuning scenarios and model hierarchies, achieving high accuracy even on complex model graph structures. Additionally, we demonstrate the importance of incorporating low-rank distance priors for accurate reconstruction, especially in scenarios like LoRa fine-tuning. Section Llama 2. In this section, we delve into the detailed training hierarchy of the models presented in the Llama papers. The models are structured in a hierarchy, and we can assess Mother's performance on the Llama family models compared to the provided ground truth. We utilize the official Llama 2 models from Meta, which consist of 5 models organized into 3 levels of hierarchy. Since the fine-tuned models are specialized versions of the base model, we classify each model as a specialization-trained model. Our approach accurately reconstructs the model tree structure with perfect precision, as shown in the full model tree plot in Fig. Llama_tree. Moving on to Stable Diffusion, the Hugging Face model cards outline a 4-level hierarchy encompassing 5 models. We apply the same distance metric as before, but since the different model versions are improved and more generalized base models, we treat them as generalization nodes. Mother successfully reconstructs all edges except one, where Stable Diffusion 1.4 is mistakenly placed as a descendant of Stable Diffusion 1.3 instead of a sibling. This error was due to a miscalculated distance, even though the directional score indicated the correct edge direction. We then explore the robustness of Mother with 3 identical fine-tuned versions of VIT that used different seeds. In all cases, the distance between sibling models was greater than to the parent model, enabling us to accurately recover the model tree. We also investigate whether the size of the model tree affects Mother's performance by sampling sub-model trees of varying sizes. The results show that the number of nodes in a model tree size does not impact the outcomes. Furthermore, we test the clustering accuracy for small model graphs and find that even with as few as 10 models across 5 model trees, the clustering achieves high accuracy. This suggests that Mother recovery can be effective for small yet diverse model graphs. We explore different directional scores to estimate distributional changes in weight values and find that kurtosis consistently demonstrates monotonicity across various models. Additionally, we study the impact of different layer types in neural networks on the directional score throughout the fine-tuning process, noting that dense layers remain consistent across all model trees. While we assumed knowledge of the training stage throughout this paper, we acknowledge the importance of methods to automatically infer the stage based on model weights for broader applicability. Finally, we discuss the challenges of recovering web-scale model graphs, emphasizing the need for new algorithms to efficiently compute weight distances and update the model graph with new models and model trees. Section Summary. In this section, we delve into the training hierarchy of the Llama 2 and Stable Diffusion models, evaluating Mother's performance on these model families compared to ground truth. By utilizing the L_4 distance metric, we successfully reconstruct the correct structure of the model trees with high accuracy. We also explore Mother's robustness to similar models, smaller model trees, and different directional scores, highlighting the potential for extending its applicability to web-scale model graphs in the future. Section: Inferring graph properties from model metadata. In this section, we aim to understand graph properties based on model metadata. Recovering mother is the initial step in organizing the AI model collection. Similar to maps of the world, we can enhance a model graph by including layers with node details like training data, hyperparameters, and model connections. With some node data available, we can use techniques like graph neural networks to predict the characteristics of other nodes in the model graph.